called S tier.
They are definitely over.
Rapid Ingress.
Welcome to another Rapid Ingress. This one is via satellite. We're going old school with this one. We're going to be not on location. We're going to be in different parts of the country.
Yeah, only 20 minutes away. That's different parts.
It counts. Different counties. So another episode of Rapid Ingress. If you haven't watched the show before, we go through all the topics you see on the screen. We only have 4 minutes per topic, and the buzzer will sound. And once we're done, there's no going back. We just have to finish our points. Last point wins. And sometimes last episode we kind of agreed on a few things. Let's see how this one goes. Anthony, you're going to be in charge of the topics today because
I picked them. I like them. I know about them, and it's all recent stuff, so it's going to be nice and interesting.
All right, let's see if we agree as much as we did last time. This is episode number 2, Rapid Ingress. Start the buzzer when you're ready.
All right. So, I don't know if you saw it, the Tacoma Open already nerfed pivot. I don't know if it's a one-off. I hope it's not. But if you're not aware of the changes, what they did is any model that's a round base over 32 millimeters with a base has to pay the 2-inch pivot cost, which I say is good and deserved. I'm sure you saw how bullshit pivot can be.
Yeah, I mean, initially we did the first Rapid Ingress. We were talking about pivot as a new rule, and I was like, not going to be that big of a deal. But now we're seeing that we've played more tournaments, that it is actually getting abused a little bit. People are taking that extra 2 movement. I was talking with Kenny a couple of days ago, and we were talking about older editions where side of armor mattered and things like that, and you would line up your Rhino sideways, and then as soon as the game started, you pivoted for free, and you got that extra 2 inches. People are doing that again. It's getting abused. So Tacoma worked together with GW, and they came up with these rules, and GW approved of them. So maybe other tournaments are just going to start bandwagoning that and using it. I think it's not a bad rule, especially when you have models like Magnus that can pivot for free and gain an extra 6 inches with his wings.
Magnus isn't even the bad one. The Doomsday arc
Magnus
is the bad one.
Yeah. Even that, but there's a lot of things that can take a lot of advantage of it, especially when other models are paying attacks on it. So I do like the nerf there for what they're doing.
I'm glad about it because when pivot first came out, like you said, you guys weren't too worried. I immediately went, wow, this is abusive. This is going to be horrendous. I'm surprised it's not nerfed yet. So it's only semi-official now because apparently the judges worked with GW judges. Hopefully it's in at worst the next balance status slate. Hopefully it's a hot patch in sooner because I don't know. Over time, I see Justin getting more not enraged at pivot, but hating it, just going wow, what the hell is this? Like you said, with old editions, you had facings. You had weapon facings as well. So it's not like if you pivot and part of the tread sees you, 15 guns shoot you. It was, well, I'm facing the wrong way, so even if I pivot,
It was more that you got the extra movement as well, and that's what people are doing now. It's like they pivot for free, get 2 inches, and they'll come and pivot again, get another 2 inches. If somebody really abuses it, it's going to be a bad experience for players. So I think it's better GW nerfs, bites this in the butt, so to speak, and changes it for the better. They did a global pivot rule for everything. I don't think they took into account how easily this can be kind of skewed, but maybe they did know about it. They just said, we're going to reintroduce it, see how it goes, and this was their initial run with it, and they're seeing a lot of people don't like it. So it's either remove pivot completely, which is what I say, get rid of it. I don't think we freaking need pivot.
Yep.
We've been playing without pivot for a long time. Nobody complained. Bringing it back, are they just trying to bring some more variety to the game?
I think
Why
it's
bring
to
it
fix
back
some issues.
at this point?
What was I going to say with it? It's a little ridiculous, and I don't know. It came out of nowhere, and you're saying it's a global rule. It's not global. The rules commentary brought it in as a core rule, and then the Pariah Nexus mission pack changed it for just Pariah Nexus tournaments. So you have 2 different pivots came out at the same time. So they already knew it was broken, and they kept it anyway.
Yeah, I meant global as in it's an umbrella rule for the entire game. They didn't make it specific enough. Circle bases do this, and bases that are over a certain size do this, and they didn't think about it to that level. It was just more of an umbrella. This is what pivot does. Go. And
when you just teleport through ruins because your base just is the perfect size. Oh, I can fit in this little hole now. I don't know, it's ridiculous. I hate
better. Is that a stealth nerf to Necrons?
it is a pretty big nerf to Doomsday Arch, and I just want to say, since we're at the end, oh wow, I even forgot it. I zoomed out. I zoomed out.
Forgot. That's it. The buzzer cuts you off.
It did.
On to the next one.
On to the next one, we have, what is it? TGX. So it's a grand tournament that basically just happened, and it's pretty soon after Pariah Nexus came out. So do you think it's going to define the meta?
I don't think TGX is going to define the meta, but it was a great tournament. We all went out to it. Northern Knights Gaming went out to it. I do want to give a shout out before we move on to Northern Knights Gaming. Rami, he's on our team, and he placed top Xenos army at the tournament. He finished 5-1, did a great job. So I want to give a shout out to Rami because he is a great teammate and a great player. So go check out his list if you play Tyranids. But to move on to that, I don't think it's defined the meta. It does reinstate a lot of the things I thought earlier, where I said Dark Angels are really good. I went into a Dark Angels army who ended up playing really well at the tournament, and they go really hard into Blood Angels. And I think if you're saying Blood Angels are the meta right now, or the top of the meta, Dark Angels can really, really screw over Blood Angels, especially with their -1 damage Knights. And there's other things there. You can also take, Feel No Pains to Mortals and things like that with their Knights. So it's really oppressive to damage two armies like Blood Angels, and especially an army that needs to get into you. They can't shoot you from afar. So I'm going to stay with it that Dark Angels are up there. I don't know if they're S tier anymore after looking at some of the armies. I do think Blood Angels are really good. I just think they're too much of a glass cannon. I'll let you go quick because I've been talking for a while, and then I'll make my second point about that. But what do you think with what I said?
I don't think it's necessarily going to define the meta, but it will kind of like pivot it or guide it. Since what I noticed is a lot of the Chaos players switched to Thousand Suns, you included, and Guard players.
I play Thousand Suns though.
You always played them, but now you're playing them more, like way more.
Yeah.
And I don't think Guard players are going to look at the top list that won and they're just going to go, oh, it's a dumb list and it was pure luck. I've already seen a bunch of that, so I already know Guard players are lost cause. But I think Chaos is switching to Thousand Suns quite a lot.
Nick is a great Guard player, so
yes, he is.
He's an elite Guard player, so to match yourself against him, if you're a Guard player and you want to play on Nick's level, it's totally possible. You're gonna have to practice a lot and know the game, but he is like
really
a
good
Guard player, and he's very good Guard player, just like Sam. If you don't know Sam, he's one of the best Blood Angels players in Canada, probably the best Blood Angels player in Canada, and he plays third at the tournament. He plays the army really well. He knows the ins and outs of how they work and how they function. Kind of like Skari as well with Dark Eldar. Even when Dark Eldar suck, Skari kind of finds ways to still win. He might not be winning tournaments, but he's still a threat. So it's kind of like that. Know your army really well. I don't think TGX is going to define anything. I think it's just kind of reinstating, like, yeah, these armies are good. And you saw a few armies that we didn't really think would do good creep up, like Guard, for example. But again, looking at Nick playing it, I'm like, okay, would a Guard player with that list do that? Probably not.
Oh, no.
And you're going to see Blood Angels and Dark Angels and Thousand Suns. If anything changed on my mind, Sisters of Battle are not as good as I thought they were.
Yes, but you know what? For me, it changed my mind or showed people Blood Angels aren't as strong as we thought. Like, yes, they can do a lot of damage, and you're right with this. They are glass cannons, and I think TGX showed that because they did well.
That's why I brought Terminators.
But I think TGX also lowered the win rate for Blood Angels a bit. Some of them did not do great, but then you had like Sam do very well.
Yeah, Sam did really well. I had to drop after day one because I went 2-1 on day one and had to drop because of other things. But Sam did something I really wanted to do was Vanguard Vets spam, and you put them with a priest, and he gives them the 5-up Feel No Pain with a 4-up Invuln with the shields, so they become a lot more durable. Otherwise, if you're just taking Death Company, you're getting like it's a glass cannon. You're one punch in, and you're done. And just one last point for that. You cannot trade with Dark Angels Knights because not only do you do less damage because the -1 damage, they're going to hit you back just as hard. You can't compete with that army. That's my opinion. Anyways,
you're stretching the buzzer there. That was a bit of a tangent.
Sorry, give me a red card or a yellow card.
A yellow card, yeah. You just pull it out.
Red card would mean you finish the show on your own.
Next up, we have Thousand Suns because this is what I wanted to bring up since while they seem I don't know what happened in the last 2 or 3 weeks, maybe month, where they are showing up more often and they are just being brutal. And yeah, there we go. The wingless Lord of Change.
No, that's Fate Weaver.
What, are you gonna bring him in your Thousand Suns list?
A fun one, yes. I'm gonna make a fun Thousand Suns list for the stream and things like that. But he's more for demons, of course.
But for Thousand Suns, are they just mortal spam? Are they creeping up in the meta, or were they always like this? Did something change for them?
So we've played a bunch of games. We're also going to play a TTS game tonight with Thousand Suns again, a rematch. I don't know what army you're bringing tonight, but one thing you've seen is not only the mortals. Yes, the mortals hurt. The mortals are ridiculous, especially if you're rolling high with the Doom Bolt and you're my beast there was rolling sixes like nonstop, so he's getting a bunch of mortals, d6 plus 6 mortals. That can happen for sure. The spells are really good. There's a certain way to play them. I think there's like a box way out of box way to play them. There's like a few separate things you can do, like a Demon Prince. Not everybody's taking a Demon Prince. I tried him out yesterday in our game that we played. I love the uppy downy with the Demon Prince. It's an absolute must take in my opinion now after playing it. Before I was like 180 points. I can bring 2 sorcerers for that. No. Uppy downy means I can do a Doom Bolt because I give him the Lord of Forbidden Lore, so he can do a second Doom Bolt essentially after I do a first one, and I can do that anywhere I want on the board. Just uppy downy him, keep him alive, and it's amazing. And he has a gun there. You can do other spells with him. You can move him twice. You can bring him to do objectives, behind enemy lines, whatever you want to do later in the game. Plus, you saw how good characters are. Like, I can bring a 65-point Zangor Shaman by himself, and he just gets me 20 points doing like, what's the side one called? Containment. You throw him there, he's like, all right, that's all he's there to do. He's 60 points. You can even bring 3 Zangoran Light-Ins for 45 points to do that as well. There's so many cheap options to do that. You have, what are they called? Cultists that give you free CP on death. And yeah, it's mortal spam.
You know what I'm hearing?
It is.
All I'm hearing is why Thousand Suns are broken and need to be nerfed. Because it is a little ridiculous. Because I remember Tyranids, when they were doing like 20 or 30 mortals a turn, got their teeth kicked in. You did like 40 to me before in a turn. A single turn.
I think there was a turn I got 30 mortals on you for sure.
I remember once you got 24 just from the Vortex Beast, which was ridiculous.
The thing is with them is...
It was swingy.
Yeah. The thing is, you stack their army ability. You stack mortals onto it, so everything's doing devs.
Well, Doom Bolt abilities, psychic powers doing devs. That I think has to get nerfed. Just being able to select dev on basically all your guns. That is ridiculous.
It's not all your guns. It's psychic, but
which is all the stuff you take.
And the psychic flamers, the ability to double your length on Doom Bolt, so you can sit back, kind of create a bubble with Magnus and the Vortex Beast, and just start, picking things off. It's really fun. That's what they do. That's their niche. They're not going to close combat you to death or anything like that.
Yeah.
Blood Angels and Dark Angels are a bit of a hard matchup for Thousand Suns. When you have to be very cagey against playing Blood Angels, because if Blood Angels get into you, they can just absolutely eliminate everything, and there's absolutely no protection against 2 damage weapons like that. So you have to stay back, kind of Doom Bolt the crap out of them, and hopefully, you can win the game. But they are very strong. Like I said, a Nexus is really good for them because they can score secondaries at will.
There's the buzzer. I can't get in my last bit of they have to be nerfed because. All right, I'll follow the buzzer. I'll listen to the buzzer rules. I'll get them next time.
They're amazing. That's all we got to say about Thousand Suns.
I got my own tangent for them.
Why did you write TK Suns?
Because Thousand Suns wouldn't fit into our text size.
Why don't you put 1K Suns?
Because they're Thousand Suns. TK. People type TK.
No, 1K. People type TS.
Really?
Yeah, TK is.
I'm starting my own revolution here.
1K Suns is what it is. Anthony Zoomer.
But
okay.
Next up,
Zoomer
we have
Suns.
Meta Clarity with.
Yeah.
It's been some time since the changes of Pariah Nexus. How do you think the game state is? And the meta?
It's pretty good, but just going back to the last one, I think a lot of people are going to stay around till 3 or skip forward to be like, what the hell are TK Suns? I got to see what this is.
I started
TKO
on a different
son.
tangent here. Look at that.
Meta clarity. What about it?
Like,
what do you,
it's been some time since Pariah Nexus came out. For me, I'm feeling better about the game because it actually feels way more fun than before. TGX is the most I enjoyed it in a while. And, like, just the armies coming up. Like, people predicted Sisters to be the third best army right now. And I'm just like, wow, Sisters are brutal right now to fight and to play as. Because they're really expensive points-wise. Blood Angels didn't do as well as I expected. And then out of nowhere, Guard won a tournament. Guard won 2 tournaments. And what other stuff happened? There was a lot of surprises.
I think the meta's pretty good. I think
It feels nice.
Uppy Downy is getting a little ridiculous, in my opinion. I think I said this already. I think too many things can do that. Grey Knights are an example. I think they're very, you can't interact with them very much, and but they're okay. I think they're in a good place. They don't hit too hard, so I'm fine with them doing that. It's where, like, I'm just telling you right now, if demons get any sort of buff, they're going to be a problem.
Demons?
Yeah.
They might be a slight problem, maybe in the future.
If they get a buff with their codex, they're going to be very, very good.
Oh, I hope they get a buff just so they have fun.
Yeah.
Even if it's a points increase as well. But I'm surprised Knights aren't doing better, since now they can just straight up walk through walls. Like, literally just, I'm on the other side of this building that's bigger than them. It's cool, but I'm surprised it didn't help them out more.
I know there's a lot of Knight players that are playing Knights, and you have to be cagey with them still because, like I said, they can go down pretty fast. That, or maybe the Knight community just doesn't have that good of a bunch of players. Like, we don't.
They don't have a bunch of players,
top-tier
and
Knight.
it really sucks not having bondsmen. Having the bondsman nerfed is what's really hitting them. Doesn't matter if you can walk through walls if you don't have half your ability.
Yeah.
And what else?
With Knights, they just with like Grey Knights, I just like I'm whatever with them. I know what they do, and it's like you just screen them out, do what you got to do. They're not as they're stoppable. You can stop Grey Knights where it's like, yeah, they're definitely stoppable. Where other armies are not so much.
I'm also surprised seeing Chaos Space Marines kind of creeping down. Like, I thought they were going to be oppressive out of the gate with the Codex, but have they got any changes since the Codex come out? It feels like I just haven't been seeing
nerfs. Just nerfs.
They got some nerfs?
Well, they got point nerfs, right?
Can I say deserved?
If it was, they're not there anymore, so you're not going to see Chaos being like top army anymore, I don't think, in my opinion. Thousand Suns are a lot better. If you want to play Chaos, play Thousand Suns, play World Eaters. You'll have a better chance.
I feel like in the next month it's going to change even more. Like, it's been a month and things haven't settled yet because it's just the meta's in a good spot. There's like,
it's decent, yeah.
What is it? There's a give and take. Like, this army starts doing well, which lets another army go up, which lets another army counter that army, and it actually feels like that for once instead of just, wow, Eldar are clearly the best, or Chaos Space Marines are clearly the best. There's like
differences. A certain amount of armies that are good right now, and there's armies that have no chance, basically, at the moment.
So some people got their teeth kicked in really hard.
Yeah, like you're not going to see Gene Stealer Cult at armies. I mean, if you're going to bring it to a tournament and prepare to get your butt
you have to be really good.
I didn't see any Voton either.
Oh, Voton suck. They're just suffering. They need more stuff. And
good.
They need a lot of help.
I'm not a fan of Voton, as you can tell.
If they're good, they'll be annoying. But that's it for Meta Clarity. I love this countdown because I could hear it without even looking. Just like, oh look, we're done.
Hey, look, you're done.
Next up, it actually just got announced today. Agents of the Imperium. I saw you were not happy about some of the changes. I'm not happy about some of the stuff, and I'm also happy with it. So this will be interesting.
Not a fan. Sorry.
No? Really? I think it's really interesting.
This might be a hot take. Cool. I know the lore-wise and all the characters and the stuff you can do with them is cool, but from a perspective of squatting armies, Death Company and not Death Company, sorry, Death Watch, in my opinion, are one of the cooler armies, and they had a lot of abilities to have like a codex that could be very, very unique, and GW was just kind of like, nah, we don't want to do all that work, just include them in there and just take them into any army that you want. I don't like that. Sorry. Not from a tournament or competitive standpoint, just I don't like that as in it doesn't feel good.
Doesn't feel good? Yes, Death Watch going away doesn't feel good. At least the rumor was kind of wrong with Grey Knights. They're still their own army. But they kind of brought Soup back, at least for Imperium, which is really cool. Chaos kind of got to keep its, like, really big Soup. And Imperium kind of gets it back. Like, I could take Sisters with Guard again, or Grey Knights with Guard. Or what? Custodes with Sisters. And it's somewhat.
I mean, that's confusing as well. It's like, Games Workshop's like, we don't want Soup.
And then they do this.
We don't want Soup. They've been saying it since 8th edition. I ran a Soup list that, was dominating LVO. I went 5-1 that year at LVO, and then lost. But it was a great army, and I ran into a lot of armies that were similar to mine. But Soup was like, in 8th edition, they're like, Soup's got to go. Okay, fine. 9th edition, Soup's not a thing anymore, or if you do it, it's very, very bad
limited.
to do. 10th
It's still
was
limited
even worse. Now it's very limited. Like, it was decent before. Like, in the beginning of 10th, I could take a whatever. I can play World Eaters and bring in a what's it called? Bloodthirster. Now you got to bring in Bloodletters and a Bloodthirster, so you're paying that 150 point sink.
You're paying for that because of the Changeling, though.
What's that?
And you're paying for that because of Nurglings and Changelings.
Yeah, and well, you need Battle Line to bring in something else, right?
Yes.
You can't just bring a Greater Demon anymore, or you can't do that. So it's like, if you're just bringing an assassin in to a Space Marine list, go ahead. Everybody does that. It's kind of boring. It's not real Soup. It's not like nothing being done that's out of the box. You're not stacking any abilities. You're not making it. Soup was really cool in 8th edition. Now it's just like, it seems like people are doing it to either fill cheap points or just because everybody's found some
Busted
particular
thing.
Combo that works, like the assassin.
But just think of the possibility now, because like now it's
just
2
doesn't
characters,
feel
2
good.
units, and a retinue, which could be Sisters, Terminators. They
Yeah.
haven't shown what else yet, but I'm just really excited for that because, like, say I could take Terminators and Guard. I could never have really done that before without taking a specific detachment. Like, oh look, I now have a Space Marine character, Terminators, and I don't know, Intercessors.
Can you actually take Terminators?
Grey Knight Terminators, yes, that's what they said.
You can take that with Guard?
You can take it as an agent, yeah. Battle
really don't
Sisters, you
like
could take
that. Sorry,
Chimeras
don't like
and
that.
Agents of the Imperium. There's a lot. It's a lot of Soup opened up that it's probably not going to be good, but it's really
like it.
cool and it's bringing some flavor back. Like, I like
That-
it. I'm excited for it. I have Agents
don't-
with me right now.
I don't like it. I'm against it.
Okay, what happened to Death Watch is kind of criminal. Like, that was not fair to Death Watch players. even
That's
if it was
fine.
a
I'm
niche
fine
army.
with Guards. I'm fine with Guard using agents. I'm not fine with them taking Terminators.
If they're
that's
retinue,
dumb.
yeah. I think it would be cool to have actually a tanky unit for once with an invuln.
That's dumb. Sorry, that's dumb.
Maybe, but
That's Space
they
Marine-
get purged
that's Space
after,
Marine
so it
stuff.
all makes up, right?
I disagree. Not good, in my opinion. Get rid of it.
Not good. All right. Next up, we have one that's kind of a legacy topic, because you'll see. Melee, is it broken? Is it the best it's been in years? I kind of agree with that. I don't know about you.
It depends who you are. Depends what you're playing.
It
I don't think it's
depends.
broken across the table.
Well, do you think it's the best it's been in years? Since I
If you're a
remember
World
Melee
Eaters
at
player
some points
or
was
Blood Angels, yeah.
for Blood Angels.
If you're a World Eaters player or Blood Angels, yeah. If you're not those things, then not really.
I don't think it's better for World Eaters right now than before.
No,
Because-
but you're saying 10th edition.
Yes. Well, in the current state of the game, Pariah Nexus.
I think this is the best state for certain armies that have the abilities to be good in close combat. I don't think in general close combat. I think damage is way down. So no, it's not the best it's ever been.
Really? You
used
think
to do-
damage is way down? I don't know.
This is nothing. I used to do 45 wounds with one Chain Lord. I didn't need a 300 point unit to do that. I had a 45 point model. Damage
Yeah.
is way down. This is not the best Melee's ever been. It's not even close. This is you need a 300 point unit to do like whatever. You bring a 280 point Death Company unit to do 2 damage per model. Yes, you're spamming that out with rerolls to hit, with +1 to wound with a Libby or with a Chaplain or whatever you want to take. It's still not as much damage as they used to do in 9th and 8th edition. Not even close.
But it's not just purely damage. It's the maps as well. Like, WTC has really enabled melee armies in a way not exactly possible before, because there's a lot more space
Right.
to hide from shooting. It's not Planet Bowling Ball.
I'm just thinking, in that sense, yeah, it's better.
Because it's not just pure
WTC.
damage output. If you go by pure
If you're
damage
just talking
output.
DPS, no. If you're talking DPS, it's nowhere near what it used to be. Damage
just in
is
general.
Crazy.
Because some
You have
people will
more
be
ways to
complaining about
hide.
melee armies now, like quite a bit. They're like, they're tired, like Tau players are tired of melee armies because they just hide behind a wall, you go up to them and they just beat you to death.
That's WTC. WTC puts a lot of terrain on the table.
But do you prefer
That's
that
the
over
only-
GW? Because yeah, if we're playing GW terrain, melee is just
I actually like ITC, which is GW terrain, better. There's just a few maps that are really bad. So if you
so
go to a
GW
tournament
terrain's
that
now
does,
ITC.
huh?
GW terrain's now ITC terrain.
It's basically the same. Was the ITC flavor. Like it wasn't like overly done terrain, and it was also more organic stuff where like WTC is like boxy and footprints and boxy, and I don't mind the footprints. I like the footprints because it's a very clear rule, and I think everybody can follow that. If you're, we know the rules for footprints. If you're totally behind it, you can't see. I like that. It just keeps the game clean, especially for competitive. There's no arguments, blah blah blah. But as far as like the way the map's laid out, some WTC terrain is like you gotta like do I gotta do some like algorithms. I gotta come up with like I need AI to come up with some angles for me there.
Here's the perfect spot for me to go so that if you walk 6 inches
Yeah.
this way, I get a perfect 7-inch charge.
Yeah. It's good. It makes you think. I like it in some situations. I don't want to play every single game on a WTC board. That is so tedious. In my opinion, that's just my opinion. I like
melee's
I like
at least
I
stronger
like-
than I've known it.
I like GW terrain. Huh?
Like, to be fair, you've been in the game way longer than me, so yeah, you know when melee was broken. But I think it's really
ITC
strong right now. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's too strong, but some melee armies are
It's
not
good.
that fun to fight. Just because you know what's happening and the game's over by turn
But that's
3.
all they have.
It's all they have, yeah, so
That's,
GW should
first of
fix
all,
it.
you put yourself in a situation that they can't turn 1 charge you, turn 2 charge you, and you'll be fine. You got to whittle them down. If you watch the game if you don't believe me, go watch Nick play Sam at TGX. It's on Tabletop Live. Tabletop Live streamed that game. It's game 5. Nick wins the game, and against an army that would literally one-shot half of his army, he won because he knows how to position, he knows how to stay back, he knows what to do. He charged in his horses. You have to know how to play. You have to think, and you have to. Every opponent is different. And if you watch Nick's game, not to go too long, he played Grey Knights, and he played totally different. He knew how to screen out the corners, and if you know how to play the game, you know your opponent, you know the army you're going against, you shouldn't have a problem. So to answer your question, is melee broken? I don't think it's broken. I think it's in a good spot. I think it's good for some armies. It's really good for some armies, and it's just like whatever as in the entire meta. I don't think it's broken or anything like that. Sorry. I know you want to hear it's
Sorry.
broken.
Gotta apologize at the end.
It's not broken. I've seen it in way worse states. Like I just told you, I had a Chain Lord that could do 45 wounds, and in multiple times one-shotted Knights with a 45-point model.
But to respect the timer,
Yep.
we gotta leave it there. But next
Okay.
up, we have the top army. Who's the best army right now, in your opinion? Were we wrong in our tier ranking?
Who's the best army? I wanted to say Blood Angels. I still think they are S tier, but I think I'm going to go back to my original. Remember when we were speaking and I was saying if things shift in a certain way, if people build lists in a certain way, I think Thousand Suns will be in that top tier. I don't think it's happened yet, but I'm going to still say Blood Angels are probably top tier right now, just because of how fast they are, how hard they hit, and they can do secondaries incredibly easily. They have a lot of options that you can make them a little tankier than just spamming Death Company, and the speed. The speed kills in 10th edition, so I think they're really good. They do have some bad matchups, and Dark Angels are one of them.
For me, I was thinking, for a while, I was thinking Sisters of Battle. They're very impressive. Army of Faith with the 2 miracle dice, with how many miracle dice they can generate, with the legal cheating, would just be horribly oppressive and just maybe even table opponents or just score everything without caring. But this, I don't know, over time, my opinions just changed to there is no current best. Every week, a new army wins, a new list wins. I think that's the more important part. There's list variety. New people are winning, new lists, different armies. It's interesting. I thought there was going to be like a clearly the best. Like just a month ago, there was clearly a best. Doesn't seem like it anymore.
I think there's still best armies. I think it's that chunk of armies. I think it's Thousand Sons, Dark Angels, Blood Angels, Sisters of Battle, and I think I have Grey Knights creeping up to that S tier, but they're most likely top of A tier, but they're all intertwined in there.
But it's just funny. Now you hear different names. Like I hear Grey Knights going up there. Necrons might be creeping up again. Blood Angels, Sisters, all that stuff. It's like there's like 6 or 7 armies up there now instead of like 2 or 3, which is just interesting.
In S tier, I think there's only 3 armies, 4? maybe 2, and then the rest are like top of A. And then if you were to break down A into 2 categories, I would have like A tier guys, and then I would have like the B tier of A, not quite B
plus.
I would have like Tau and stuff in that A tier.
Tau seemed like they're going to be impressive as well. Where are they?
They're good. They just have bad matchups as well, right?
A lot of bad matchups.
Same with, you saw Rami playing Tyranids really, really well. He went 5-1, but they have their specific bad matchups that are going to make it really hard for them to be an S tier army right now in their current state.
I'm just kind of impressed. There's no I remember, I think when Orcs Codex came out, they had 8 tournament wins and everyone else had 2. Right now, everyone has 2 or 3 in a pretty quick time.
Well, that was broken.
It's very spread out. It's just the wins are spread out. There's only a handful of armies that don't have a GT win that you're probably not going to see them win one, even the entire balance status slate.
Yeah, they've gotten some good wins, but I don't. Just winning the tournament doesn't mean you're like top tier. It doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean top tier, but having variety is a good indicator of the meta.
That always happened though. Like even when an army wasn't when Thousand Sons used to be C tier back in 8th, just full out Thousand Sons, they would still win tournaments here and there. They could happen. It's just that doesn't put them automatically into A tier. It just means a proper situation arose. Yeah.
That indicates to me a healthy meta instead of just, oh look, Orcs with 8 wins, look at me.
No. When it's too one-sided, something's broken. Like that's obvious.
Yeah.
When it's like, you had Nick Nanavati saying on Art of War saying like he couldn't lose with Sisters of Battle in the beginning of Nexus until they nerfed them.
That 1 week.
And he's playing Art of War guys, so like they're beating each other all the time. Like they'll get a win against each other, then you'll lose a couple to Jake or whatever. He's like, he was dominating like everybody that week, and they're like, well, he went undefeated for a good 2 weeks until they nerfed him, and then it was a different story. So when an army's broken, of course we remember Space Clowns, how dumb that was. So it happens, but GW fixes it lightning quick nowadays, not like they used to. Like be like, Eldar broken, 5th edition, Eldar broken. Oh, that's okay. You guys will be good until 2000. Like we'll give you a couple of years like that.
You can self-balance. It's fine.
Buy some models.
But as you see within a Rapid Ingress, it was pretty quick, pretty fun.
Yeah.
Got to cover a variety of topics. And sadly, we couldn't do one joke we specifically wanted to do for this one, but we'll definitely do it next time.
Yeah. We're going to be doing some role-playing characters, but we can't do it today because we're on location. We're on location.
We're off location.
We're not in the studio. We're doing some we're going to be doing some stuff. We do have Monday night matchups coming out. Anthony's going to be editing his first Monday night matchup. So we're going to have some more of them coming out. If it's very Zoomer, let us know. If the editing's too erratic, then which one's Anthony's. We'll just let you guys decide which one's Anthony's. But that's the end of the show. Let us know what you guys think. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned because we have a battle report coming up this week as well as a live stream. We have Tyler back on the show this week with World Eaters and Thousand Sons, 2 armies that Anthony think are broken.
No, World Eaters is fine. Thousand Sons are absurd. I will get to that next time because, boy, do I have opinions on Thousand Sons right now. You biased. You poisoned the well against me. All right. Yeah, make sure to join the Discord, join membership, like, comment, subscribe, and thank you, VTS5, the first king.
All right. Cheers.